Hey folks, it's a little past 2:30 a.m. on the 3rd of October, and it's gone through 3 days of hard mode, and 16 days of easy mode. Middle of the night, but I got back from studying, got some things done. Maybe not as much as I might have wanted to, but decent amount of work. Kind of spreading it out until Thursday so that I can be ready for as ready as I can possibly be for the exam on Thursday. But I guess I kind of wanted to talk about today, last couple of days as well. But the urges have come and gone. I've mostly been feeling like just anxiety, and I guess you could say just downright horniness, and then just some really strong emotions. But so what's happened lately has been that the girlfriend and we've kind of had our issues. I don't know if I mentioned it in the last video, but I don't think I had. But essentially, what happened is that her and her sister started talking about my relationship with her. And some of that was honestly triggered by that little other argument we had last week because, started off with us joking around, and then, I said something that basically brought up the past, and then, more stuff got revealed about what the other girl had done, flirting with me, and, saying this and saying that. And she ended up going to her sister, my girlfriend ended up going to her sister and talking about it, and that led her sister to saying that, the solution to our problems, getting these other girls to leave me alone, basically, would be for us to get married. And then it'd be like, okay, see the ring on my finger, I'm married, I'm this woman's husband, you know, because these girls, don't respect relationships. They don't respect, boyfriend, girlfriend type stuff. But, because, my girlfriend came to the conclusion that, this is something that I had thought of earlier. I hadn't really mentioned to her, but the other girl, the vibe I had gotten from her, or one of the many sort of, one of the many sort of opinions I had of her, and so that my girlfriend came to the conclusion that this girl was basically just trying to separate us, basically make my girlfriend and I break up, and my sort of corollary to that, or so adding to that, was not necessarily because she per se wanted to be with me, me myself, but just kind of like jealous of my girlfriend for being able to, as a Moroccan girl who's in Morocco, having an American boyfriend, me, who has gone over there at this point. But back then I'd only gone there once. I'd gone there for my first trip, and then the second trip I went this summer. And it's like, okay, how can this girl have an American boyfriend who is willing and able to go on and visit her all the way over in Morocco, and I'm here in America and I can't get an American boyfriend, that sort of deal. And obviously, like, this girl knows I like Moroccan girls. I like what they refer to in France as burettes, as North African girls. Arab girls of North African descent are the ones I like the most. I'm most attracted to. And if I had if at this point in my life, if I had had 5 girlfriends, 4 out of the 5 would have been of North African descent. If I was to choose my most ideal situation, assuming that I then had to also accept the first girlfriend I had, who was this white girl. But that's what I would have, and this girl figured that out, because what kind of American guy goes out of his way that much to get to have a girlfriend from Morocco and go visit her and all that kind of stuff, And so my girlfriend figured out that this this girl is trying to cause us to break up, and talk to her sister, and had brought up the whole deal. Oh, you guys need to get married. And the real, I think, negative turn was when when she asked me later on if I'd been thinking about that, or I had thought about that, what was my opinion on it, and I said I hadn't been thinking of it, and she got mad, and if we'd been having a face-to-face conversation, it would have been her storming out of the room, like, you know, you're obviously not thinking about this, marriage or taking things seriously or whatever, and so, at that point, I thought things through, and I came back to her eventually. She'd give me like one word answers, and I would have a short conversation with her, and she was like, angry about things. But eventually, I said, no, I agree with you. I thought about it, and I do agree with you that getting married would solve these problems. And the real kicker for her was her when she finally like responded in full. She said, like, you're not ready for that kind of responsibility. You can't handle that. you know. So I forgot about the subject of marriage, and to me it sounded like she's, preparing a way out of the relationship, but um, eventually she just said, you can go focus on your studying now, that sort of deal, like, that's where we're at, so to speak, and so I've been doing that as best I can, um, but things have kind of come to a head in the sense that with regards to the other girl, I've obviously I have these videos where I talk about this kind of stuff, but there's always this sort of part of me that wants to just kind of like spill the beans and just put that stuff out there to the girl, and um, the girl in question. I think that's how I would put it. But I'm pretty sure she knows. I mean, I know that she knew that I liked her back then, and I try to pretend like I don't. As I'm trying to focus on studying and staying on the straight and narrow. But I've talked to a couple of friends about this sort of stuff. One of them in particular day, I kind of got a little, maybe a little too open about stuff, because I've gotten this feeling with talking to a lot of folks, not online, because I can kind of like filter, so to speak, who I'm conversing with, and I can I can find a site like waitingtilmarriage.org and go there, and there's always other waiting till marriage folks there, and it's like a support group, and those folks will get it. It's like just like with Nofap, I can go on Nofap channels, I can go on the Nofap forums, Nofap Reddit, and because of the fact that everyone there on some level or another is into Nofap, is doing Nofap, whether they've relapsed or are back on the path or whatever, they're still on the path, they've made so much progress, there's an agreement and an understanding and sort of a safety there, But when I talk about relationships and I talk about girls and so on with most folks, they're looking at it from a hookup culture perspective, They don't get why I would get so bent out of shape about any particular girl. Like, this one girl over here, why are you getting so bent out of shape about her? Why is sex so serious to you? It's not that serious, bro. You get it and then you get out, or whatever. That's their kind of attitude, And it gets to a point where you feel like you gotta, if you're gonna be around these folks for an extended period of time, and they're gonna get where you're coming from, so there's no real conflicts, or at least there's some sort of understanding of sorts. Um, you end up having to reveal some sort of details and such, like, like why do I get hung up about relationships and girls? Well, a lot of us do with waiting until marriage, and why am I doing NoFap? Why is pornography an issue for me? Why is yada yada yada, all those sorts of things. So I ended up spilling the beans, so to speak, to a couple guys. I mean, I feel like I probably said too much, and the thing with that is that as much as like I feel like I said too much, there's been that part of me that's wanted to say, so many things, because it's kind of like I know that there's a grapevine there, and they're in that group, people they talk about, oh, this and that with this guy and that guy and this girl and that girl, or this guy and that girl, whatever, and it's almost like I wanted to kind of subtly have that kind of filter through there and end up, having that girl find out, so to speak. Um, because I don't want to be putting this stuff out there like bluntly in someone's face, especially if I'm going to be overly emotional or it's going to be in front of other people or so on. Like today, I was sitting in the chemical engineering club room and I was working on stuff and I was getting pretty efficient at it, but then that girl walks in and I'm just kind of looking around. I see her and it's like, I try to pretend like, you know, yeah, got my headphones on, working, writing stuff out, calculating on my calculator, whatever. But I see her and it triggers an emotional reaction, and I feel it like right here. And she kind of goes around the room. She kind of like walks up, and like talking to other folks, And it's again, it's kind of like you get that sort of feeling. It's almost sort of a hopefulness, probably again from the male ego, that she's acting this way and she's doing things in this way. And she was looking at me and kind of looking over her shoulder, it seemed, and kind of presented herself a certain way and whatnot. And I kind of got that sort of that kind of amped up emotional response to all that, and even just kind of the lust, rose to the surface, and I was having to contend with that, and because she's hot, let's just be honest with ourselves. I got all that sort of feelings, and of course, later on, I mean, eventually she left. She left and headed out. She talked to some folks and kind of went around, then she left. And it's like it took me a couple hours to kind of recover from that, but it was like that kind of like disrupted me, and not her fault. Yeah, it's just kind of how it is. That did disrupt my workflow. I did get some things done. I finished up the homework assignment that's due tomorrow, and I got another problem done. I think two actually. I think I got two of them done today actually, if I remember correctly. Like one or two more, but I got that done. I rewrote my to-do list so I could spread things out a little bit more. But that's essentially like what happened up to that point. And so then that led me to talking to one of those friends a bit, more too openly. And then I ended up calling on my phone to this other friend of mine who he's kind of been like a big brother figure to me in a sense. And, I've kind of like tried to be, have his back, even as being the younger brother. But given that I have a little bit more relationship experience, try to give him, a balanced perspective on relationships, especially when he's been going through, a bunch of crap with his, I think they're still boyfriend, girlfriend. They're kind of in the iffy sort of spot right now, but he's dating a girl. She's from Afghanistan. His family is originally of like Pakistani descent, but he's born and raised over here, and really he doesn't look Pakistani as far as I'm concerned. But he's got blue eyes for one thing. But I ended up talking to him on the phone. I was pacing through the hallways, trying to stay away from that room so that perhaps if I said some things, people wouldn't hear. But I got down to brass tacks in that conversation with him because I felt like my girlfriend's been disrespecting me lately, more so than she has in general. And she's kind of gone through these cycles, to put it lightly. And I'm not just talking about the whole, like, oh, it's that time of the month type stuff, but just going through, like, phases where it's, like, at one point we're really getting along great and everything's fabulous. And it's, oh, honey this, baby that, oh, you're the man of my life, all that kind of stuff, back and forth. I mean, oh, you're my life, you're my love, you're the girl of my life, that sort of stuff. And then it'll go 180 degrees flip to, paranoid, psycho, jealous, abusive, type of behavior. And it usually happens when I least want, need, or can handle it, like now. You know, in this semester I've been having financial issues trying to pay for school. I've luckily been getting help from my father, but it hasn't come up. It hasn't come without its own, source of or own stresses, own anxiety, um, and even depression. You know. On top of that, taking a full course load, trying to not fail these classes again, do my darndest to, um, to not do that. You know, not have those classes turn out poorly. And so I talked about that. I talked about how, I was just being honest, like, this other girl is hot, and she was showing interest in me. And some of it had to do with the fact that I was a taken man, and many was still am a taken man. I mean, as far as I'm still in this relationship. So, there was that. And just kind of like weighing my options, because I know certain things about this girl, and then there are other things that I made as assumptions that turned out to be wrong or weren't as true as I thought they were. Um, but I don't really know that girl beyond certain things about her. She's studying chemical engineering. She's attractive. She's from North Africa, just like my girlfriend. She would laugh at all my jokes. She definitely was interested in me. I think there's still like a vague sort of veneer there, in part because I was the one who rejected her, not vice versa. So that obviously means that I'm, higher status. I'm higher in the totem pole, and so therefore it's kind of like, oh, the one that got away. And besides, I'm like, as far as I know from what I know of her, which isn't that much, I'm like the one American guy she knows that's dating a Moroccan girl. So obviously that kind of puts me in that category of being desirable, And so, whenever the stuff that's going on with the girlfriend and how I feel burned out with her because, you know, this stuff has happened before with her just being really emotionally volatile. And, I've had to end friendships in the past with other girls who, because they were girls, it was like, oh, you can't be friends with these, people because they're girls, and, I know what's going to happen, and, that sort of deal. And, at this point, I'm just taking time off from talking to her period to talking to the girlfriend period. Waiting until like after next Wednesday. That's gonna be like my point is to stay away from that at least until after next Wednesday. Because then, I've gotten those 2 exams out of the way, and hopefully done well on them. And then I can think with a little bit clearer head. But in all honesty, like in the past, whenever these things have happened to her, or happened not to her, to me, happened to me with having exams and all that kind of stuff, I've honestly tried to explain to her, like, this is what's going on with me. No, I'm not having an affair. I'm actually just really stressed out about my classes because, it's engineering. And, you got 2 exams in the final. That's the majority of your grade right there. And so if you have 3 bad days out of the however many days it is in the semester, you're screwed, And you're only allowed so many retakes before they kick you out of the program. And, so much of it is just about trying to survive. And it's one of those things where, like, with this girl being in my major, it's almost like, it's like I've wanted for the longest time to have the kind of girlfriend turn hopefully fiance, turn hopefully wife, turn not ex-wife but wife for life, who was in the trenches with me, and has walked pretty much the same path in life, and, it's not going to just be some parasite, weighing me down, much like with my parents, where my father has to do all the work, and he's the workhorse of the family, and my mom does nothing, and she just brought all her bad habits and lifestyle decisions into the family, and basically kind of, well, at least screwed up the family environment because of that. And it's probably one of, if not the biggest reason why I have so many issues in life in general, and with women in particular, because of stuff like that. And I see this girl, and it's all these qualities about her, the good qualities I see, and even some of the negative qualities, like realizing that I exaggerate, not just probably, but did exaggerate things or misinterpret things, and kind of seeing her as the closest that I've met to that ideal. And I used to think that was my girlfriend, but then now it's like, oh, what about this girl? So I talked about that with a friend, and then afterwards, kind of like just trying to chill a bit. And I did get some work done. Did get some more work done, but ended up talking to a couple other guys who were there, the ones who like stayed the latest, and opening up about some stuff too. And it's kind of like things that I never really got to talk to them about last year. Mostly because it was just kind of us like throwing like a bunch of sardines into a can, which was like that first semester of upper division chemical engineering coursework, and stuff that I would have liked to talked about back then, because there wouldn't be all this kind of weight of emotional attachment and to this girl, and I wouldn't have kind of built up an image of her in my mind's eye that in all likelihood is going to be shattered. But I admitted, like I talked about on Nofap and waiting till marriage and that kind of stuff, and because obviously they started asking me about the girlfriend, and they were like, oh, did you guys have sex? And no, we haven't, and I've never done that, and it's not something I plan on doing until I get married. But I did admit to my human side to them, which was that with the right girl, or some might say the wrong girl, um, it is possible that I could end up like giving up on my wait until marriage vows. Given that I've waited this long and I'm 31, and 31-year-old virgin, and to most people, I guess I seem like the kind of guy who shouldn't be, which makes me kind of an odd man out. But it's like with this girl, if she wanted to do it, and she was like adamant about wanting to do it with me, I have to be honest with you folks, I'd be like extremely tempted. Extremely tempted. And it'd be very, very hard to say no to her. Like, we're talking about a girl who, for all intents and purposes, seems like physically, at the very least physically, and even to a certain extent temperamentally, to be like the girl that, it's kind of like, I've been wanting, physically at least, maybe not in terms of her character, which is the big question. I gotta figure out this girl's character before I make any real decisions. Because I'm at the point where I've considered just like either taking a break from the girlfriend or just completely ending things with her. Because of her behavior, and then of course there's that whole sort of feeling of having another option there, and if I have another option, then why put up with this crap, all that being said, before I run out of power on this, I did want to, I concluded that conversation, and packed up my stuff and I came back home. So, all of that being said, I wanted to answer, I think it's Alex Hughes' comment on one of my videos. I think it was the one where I was talking about the fear of becoming my old man. I think that was the video. He asked me, what are my career goals? What do you want to do with your life to be successful? He was like, for me, that is the purpose of why I did Nofap. Excuse me, I don't ever want to be tied down by a woman, marriage, or kids. Now, career goals, if I were to get like highfalutin, in terms of my career goals, like way up there, obviously the dream is astronaut. And it's something that has kind of faded with time because of other aspects of life kind of taking center stage, aka girlfriends, girls, the desire to get married, have sex, have kids, the desire to make money, that sort of deal. Next question. Oh, and get more down to earth. Um, let's see, biomedical engineer slash tissue engineer, which would require the chemical engineering degree. Um, or in between the whole engineer and astronaut thing, there is the medical school deal. If I was able to, get to graduation, I have a high enough GPA to do like a post bac to make up for any bad GPA, and then go into medical school and get that medical degree. That would be like the other sort of mid-range career. Low bar is biomedical engineer. High bar astronaut. Mid bar is doctor. And that all may seem like very high up there, but that's my nature. That's how I am. That's how I've been raised, and that's where I've come from. Um, Given that my dad's an engineer, and my mom, until she had those medical emergencies and her alcoholism and the opiate addiction came along. Until all of that, she was an RN. So two very highly educated people. That's just where I come from. So if engineer seems like way up there, well, my father's an engineer, so kind of it's kind of like saying the bar there is that's where my folks are at, and bare minimum would be doing something at the level of what they've done. So, see, what do I want to do with my life to be successful? Well, as far as Nofap is concerned, I definitely want to quit the porn addiction, porn masturbation addiction. I mean, that's a whole lot of energy and time and desire that's going into like basically a bottomless pit. So I want to get over that, but I also want to dig deeper, learn to handle my anxiety better, learn to handle stress and pressure a heck of a lot better. That's one of my biggest weaknesses, and I think some that I admitted like tonight in one of those conversations was that me being an American guy, I didn't really grow up with a environment where I think I learned to handle pressure that well. So I want to learn to handle those sort of things. That's one of the big things I want to do to become successful. I want to get in shape. I want to learn to put myself first, handle my insecurities, get over them or resolve them. I say I want to get in shape. Yeah, I want to get in shape. Learn how to learn anything really well. And I honestly want to like work on my social skills and like just get good with people in general, women in particular. And it's not a matter of being a pickup artist. It's the fact that my dysfunctional relationship with the female gender has been like one of the biggest sources of like, for all intents and purposes, part of my language but crap in my life. My relationship with my mother, my relationship with my sister, like my relationship with girls I've been interested in romantically, or you could say by extension sexually interested in them. My inability to really handle that, know that, understand that, know what to do in those situations, whether I was actually trying to get with her in some way or if I was, just being friends, that sort of stuff, and then social skills in general. So, I honestly say, like, from what I can think of in a very broad sense, those are all the things that I want to do to be successful. Now, as far as the whole being tied down by a woman, marriage, or kids, I think that attitude is just really extreme. Like, I get the whole, wanting to be free of things like one-itis and, you know, not wanting to be, what's the phrase, pussy whipped or not want to be a mangina or a simp. I get that. I don't want to be those things. But it seems to me, this is looking from a Nietzschean perspective, that, people who are like that. Oh, I don't want to be tied down by a man or by a woman. Marriage, kids, who use that kind of maybe not use that kind of way of putting things, but they have maybe that's not even it in particular, but the sort of MGTOW for life or MGTOW for life. You know, screw women, forget women. I'm over women. It's like I suppose you can get to the point where you truly are MGTOW and you don't even think about that kind of stuff. That's just not your thing. You truly are not tied down by a woman, or marriage, or kids, and you don't want to be, and you manifested that. But if you're in that stage where like you're having to state that, and I've been there, and I've felt that, and I understand it, just to a certain extent. But it seems to me like looking at it from a Nietzschean perspective, you go through the stage of the slave or the servant, and the stage of the lion, and then the stage of the child. And the stage of the child is really the ultimate stage because you've unlearned everything, and you're at that point of creating your own values, creating your own system, creating your own goals, creating meaning in your life that is of you. And people who are kind of stuck in that red pill rage of like, screw women, I'm not going to be tied down, I'm free, MGTOW for life. It's like, as much as they might feel like they're free, they're still being defined by that which they are rebelling against. And so that's why, like, I am trying my darndest to be what is called purple pill, and to struggle to stay in between, to not go back to being blue pill, and to not go back to being red pill, or worse, what they call black pill, where you just kind of hate women and you don't even try anymore to improve yourself because you think that it's pointless. So I'm trying to stay right in the middle, purple pill, and it's a real struggle because obviously you got your romantic side that wants to be in love and have the wife and the kids and the traditional conservative, family life, as if you can still have that 100% of the time. And then you have the other side, which is like the red pill side, which is like, I know the truth of female nature and relationships suck and marriage is, a dead end, and all these sorts of things. Oh, I don't want to be tied down. I'm gonna be free, red pill, make tough for life, whatever. And you have to kind of, much like in occultism, you have to try to balance those two principles. You have the pillar of form and the pillar of force in the Kabbalistic system, and there's a similar terminology in Islamic or Sufi mysticism, as there is in Rosicrucian mysticism, which is Christian mysticism, or a form of it, and other systems, Hindu mysticism, Buddhist mysticism, so on. But there's sort of idea pervading all of them, that you have the pillar of justice and then the pillar of mercy, and the ideal, or the quickest way to the top, the best way to the top, the way that it will prevent you from being spiritually destroyed, and will allow you to get to that goal of becoming enlightened and having that realization, that true liberation, spiritually speaking, is the middle path, the middle pillar, in between the two extremes of force and form, in between the two extremes of justice and mercy, you know. And the real struggle is to stick to that middle path, because you're going to be being pulled, one way or another. You're going to be being pulled, to use the terminology in like sort of the MGTOW um, sphere, or the manosphere. You're going to be being pulled towards the blue pill or towards the red pill. And you're supposed to try to, no, it's kind of itchy, but you're supposed to try to stick in the middle, stay in the middle, and ascend that middle pillar, take that middle path. We are not naive, but you're not like either bitter, misogynistic, so on and so forth. And that's what I'm trying to do. And I really want to stick to that path. But again, I know it's hard, it's really difficult. And, anyways, that's where I'm at. That's what's been going on. That's what's been affecting me. That's kind of my take on some of these issues. But I think that's it for tonight. It's now a little bit past 3 a.m. and I really don't know if I'm going to go to sleep or not, because got a 9 a.m. class, and usually if I stay up this late, I end up sleeping through if I go to bed. So, anywho, folks, I will see you around. And I want to thank Alex Hughes and Alex Ehlers and who else is he? Rody Talks TV, Dictator Alex, yeah, that's the same guy. Psych Now Gaming, Constant Improvement Videos, Chris Alley, Patrick Starr, let's see who else, Con David, and so on. The rest of the guys for your comments. And you know, we might not agree on every little thing in life, but that variety is the spice of life, and I respect your opinions and your viewpoints on various issues. Everyone has a right to their opinion, so obviously I appreciate the support I get. It really just helped me through a lot of these dark times that I've been going through, trying to figure out what to do, and then actually doing what I need to do in order to get ahead in life. So thanks, folks, and I'll see you around. Bye.